Parag, should we go ahead?
Let's go, ma'am. Live.
Okay. All right. Welcome to all of you. I hope everything is safe and sound at your place. We all pray that the God gives us, all of us enough strength to pass this nature's test. It is a warm, I warmly welcome you all once again, to all dignitaries who have been kind enough to have accepted this invitation to join live today. I know this has not been easy. Each one of us are struggling with some or the other relative of ours being contracted. So thank you once again for really accepting this invite of today's Intellectual Property Talent Search Examination Awards and IP Conclave. I would like to also warmly welcome at a later stage, of course, because we are yet to have guest of honors, Professor Anil D. Sahasrabudhe, Chairman AICT. Meanwhile, may I request all the panelists to please go on mute so that there are no background noises. Thank you so much. I also would like to welcome Mr. John Kabeka from US Intellectual Property Office, Counselor, South Asia. We are going to have Dr. Ajay Garg, Senior Director from Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, soon with us. He has got some meeting with the Minister for now, but he has promised that he'll be soon with us, I think by 3 o'clock or so. I would also like to welcome Dr. Sandeep Bansal, advisor.
I've joined seat today.
Acha, welcome, sir. Dr. Sandeep Bansal, advisor at DST, Ministry of Science and Technology. Dr. A.K. Mittal, he's an IP expert and advisor at TSTSI. Dr. Sandeep Singhai, he's a principal scientist at CSIR. Ms. Monica Magnuson, Vice President IPR Policy at Ericsson. I also would like to warmly welcome all the panelists for a panel discussion, which we are soon going to have after the award session and after the inaugural session, which will be moderated by Dr. Yashwant Dev, he's head at TIPAC, followed by keynote address by Urban Piolistad. He is head marketing and communications at Ericsson. Delegates, very good afternoon to all of you. And warm welcome to third edition of IPTSE Awards and IP Conclave. As you all know, IPTSE refers to Intellectual Property Talent Search Examination. It is the first of its kind proctored annual examination in this country that tests the knowledge of an individual on various IP subjects. Basis their performance in the examination, winners are picked and they are awarded every year. It's been 3 years of its launch, and since then, there have been several stakeholders who have collaborated with the initiative to make it a very big success. Thanks to all of you. The third edition of awards today is being organized by IPTSE Academy and ASSOCHAM. They've been the supporting partners all the way through, as a technology and R&D driven company that strongly believes in intellectual property and its sharing, Ericsson has been wholeheartedly supporting this initiative ever since it was conceptualized, and year on year there has been complete support from the company. IPTSE, as I mentioned, is first of its own kind IP Olympiad. Since word Olympiad connects everyone quickly, and therefore we usually use it whenever we are trying to explain the concept. This is open for school students and for working professionals, for university students, and for all polytechnic institutions, including startups. There are several categories under which an individual can appear for an examination, and the categories may be science, research, multimedia, design, law, etc. Going forward, our team is trying its level best to include more such categories, because there have been umpteen requests from so many other categories to have them included, so that students from their side also can get eligible to apply for it and take the exam. Those who register for the examination, they are certainly provided with a very comprehensive course material, which is quite animated. For Ericsson, as I already said, that it has been consistent endeavor to support such initiatives for larger public awareness. It definitely needs a special mention here that there are several government departments who have supported this initiative fully well, considering that it's a noble initiative, whether it's Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, National Research Development Council, PCST of Punjab government, iHub Gujarat government, and there are so many more. In fact, for the first 2 years, AICT had also supported this, and it's an earnest request that there is a continued support so that there is a larger awareness in our country, which is much needed in the existing current times of pandemic, so that people think innovative, create more, and do really something great for the economy. We are very overwhelmed by the support given by several educational institutes as well who have collaborated. The team works with the partner colleges in coming up with a lot of IP programs which are customized, panel discussions, interviews. Every week there is an interview where IP experts, dignitaries of eminence, they really come with their open heart, and they say that they want to share their experience with public at large. So thank you everyone for that. From third edition onwards, team IPTSE has made examination a proctored one, so that there are no unfair means used by anyone during examination, and the results that come out are really fair. Let me mention that this has become a huge initiative. There is a immense manpower actually behind this, and if I start to take names of all of them, I think I'll spend the whole day, because it's such a huge team now. There are several IP enthusiasts, believe you me, who have joined this initiative completely pro bono. Not even a single penny that they ask for, but they just want to share their knowledge. There are many IP experts who have volunteered to share their short videos on IP subjects, which you can find on IPTSE YouTube channel as well. There are lots of videos by now. In fact, there are a lot of people who have joined as an IP expert, as IP advisors, who are giving us and supporting us at every minute, every day. Just to share with you all small statistics, students from all across the country are invited to take this examination. This year, we've been able to reach out to more than 30,000 schools, 700 universities, and 25,000 plus polytechnics. Despite an unprecedented situation and challenging time, we all know, we had never expected reasonable response, even because everyone is working from home. People are like overwhelmed with a lot of online lectures and everything. But you'll be surprised to know that there are 35 new institutions that joined third edition of examination. Individually, students from approximately 205 different educational institutes registered for the third edition. Overall, 63.3% of students appeared for exam and they passed. Pass percentage for school students has been 78.1%, and the pass percentage for university students has been 61.8%, which clearly shows that even our school students are loving the subjects. They want to, the subject of IP, and they want to learn more. Just to share with you some brief about various award categories that we'll be soon sharing today, announcing today from 3 to 3:30 p.m. There are 5 categories, and until now, till date, we always had only 2 to 3 categories where only students were invited and they were given the results. But this time there are 4 more categories. So as in past, all India rank holders will be announced from school and colleges as category 1. Category 2 is the best college award, which means that these are the colleges from where there have been most registrations. And this is clear indication of the fact that this college or these colleges are actually spreading IP awareness fully well, and therefore this makes it easy for students to become aware of so many such initiatives and participate. Category 3 is the domain-specific awards, where students or individuals who took examination in different domains will be awarded. Category 4 is the new award that we have again included this year. This is IPTSE Community Awards, or you may call it as YouTube Teacher Award. These are all IP experts, and believe you me, they are all working professionals, but they take out time to prepare short, nice videos on current topics that can really suit the audience and make them more engaging. They'll be awarded basis number of views, their articulation, the topic of their choice, etc. And the last but not the least award is the IP Recognition Awards for government institutions, because there have been so many people that you'll hear the name. The institutions at an institution level, pandemic did not stop them. I have been witness to many of their activities, and they have always inspired me as individual. Great work done by all of them. Physical meetings they did, that's the way to go, never to stop and keep going. At the end, I would like to mention that this examination, intellectual property talent search examination, where we are trying to identify the talent in IP, the first of its kind IP Olympiad, it has also led to generation of huge employment, because there are social media specialists who are working, IP researchers, copywriters, social and digital media experts, and whatnot. If any one of you are interested in volunteering for the initiative, please come forward. We'll be more than happy to work with you and make it a big success, because it's the teamwork that can only make it happen big. I wish all of you the very best. In some time from now, we will be announcing the name, I think in an hour or so. And I hope the panelists for the next session to have exciting time for all fruitful deliberations. With this, I would close my welcome address, and thank you once again. With this, may I request Mr. John Quebeca to please give his keynote address.
Thank you very much, Sito, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the U.S. Embassy here in New Delhi, and on behalf of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and as this year's co-chair for ASSOCHAM's National IP Council, it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to this year's IPTSE Awards ceremony and IP Conclave. The USPTO is very happy to be partnering with you on such an important initiative. Also, the timing of this program couldn't be more appropriate, given the fact that just on April 26th, just 2 days ago on Monday, was World IP Day. We often like to say it's World IP Day month, where we get to celebrate Intellectual Property Day and intellectual property awareness throughout the month and even throughout the year, signifying its tremendous importance to our entrepreneurs, large and small. This year's World IP Day theme, though, is very near and dear to me, the theme being IP and SMEs, taking your ideas to market. And in my former capacity, I was the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office Regional Director based in Silicon Valley and startups. I worked very closely with early stage entrepreneurs and startups as they endeavored to innovate and secure protections for those innovations. So spending now a majority of my over 30-year career at the agency helping to support entrepreneurs and startups, I'm very committed to this year's theme and to supporting their efforts. And that said, I see that same commitment here today with the support of the impressive list of speakers that we have for today's program, speakers from across the Indian government, as well as other experts from industry and from intellectual property firms and organizations and other industry organizations as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Your presence sends a very clear message and underscores how important it is to recognize innovation and how much we value the blood, sweat, and tears our innovators put in to seeking solutions to improve our lives every day. And a critical part of those innovations is being able to secure adequate protection. And the efforts of IPTSE and all of you here today to help support that effort, to help build awareness of intellectual property, and to help identify and build the IP professionals of the future, I think is tremendous, a tremendous and commendable effort, and I'm very grateful for that. Here at the US Embassy, and in my role as the IP counselor in India, we try to support this effort in every way that we can. Generally, at a very high level, I have a threefold responsibility, one of advocacy, one of cooperation and government-to-government cooperation, and also one of education. And a big part of that is education to the public and helping to raise the awareness and importance of intellectual property. And this couldn't be more important than with our micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, which is a very key sector for driving job growth. And generally, when we look at systems more holistically, we build these systems to create balance, right? And the strength of our IP rights and our IP systems help to level the playing field and create incentives to innovate and to advance technology. This is true across industries, across technologies, across all forms of intellectual property, and for all innovators, from the independent inventor, startup, or early stage entrepreneur that has very few resources, as we all know, and to help put them on equal footing with large global companies that have expertise in navigating the complex IP landscapes across the world. This is why this year's effort in supporting SMEs is so important. And with respect to startups, my advice is, in working with them throughout the years, I see two areas that startups very early on in their development that are risks to them if they're not careful. One of them is, their own disclosures of their inventions might if they disclose their invention prior to filing their patent application, for example, they might lose the ability to get patent protection for that innovation. But I think even at an earlier stage, before they're even ready to file an application, a startup or an emerging company, their very first IP, most of the time, is their trade secret protection. They're in stealth mode, they're doing research and development, trying to build the solutions to the problems that they're seeking to solve. And having strong trade secret protection is critically important. And that's where I believe governments can come into play, and where we help to play a role in to identify how they can best protect themselves, with regards to keeping their sensitive business information confidential and ensuring it stays that way throughout their upscaling of their company. Lastly, when I look back, and now over 30 years at the agency, even looking back further, it's clear that intellectual property has been tested throughout the centuries, but it has stood the test of time. We've seen this throughout our history. Anytime some new sector or new innovation comes along, this tests the delicate balance of our IP system. And sometimes, they get tested around the world. When we look back just over 100 years ago at the invention of the automobile, and now nearly over 200 years ago at the invention of the sewing machine, we take these innovations for granted today, but you wouldn't believe it at the time, the dialogue and the threat to our IP systems these innovations had. But yet, when we now look back, we see that our IP system stood the test of time. And I think this is true as we go forward and advance into the future in looking at new and emerging technologies that, yes, continue to test the system, but ultimately our IP systems are what ensure innovators get the protection they need, give the ability to secure the protections for those innovations, and at the same time to spur competition. And I know today in the discussions with artificial intelligence and with 5G, these are all topics that will continue to emerge and continue to evolve. And we know full well that IP will be there every step of the way. So with that, I do want to just take a moment again to highlight the importance that all of you here today, the important role that you play in supporting innovators, in supporting intellectual property, and where we can help, we're here to help support your efforts and to lend a helping hand. At the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, we have tons of resources and videos to help entrepreneurs understand our systems. And at the same time, we do a lot here on the ground, working with stakeholders like yourselves in raising IP awareness and helping to understand and navigate the complex IP landscape across the region. So thank you very much. Congratulations to the awardees and to all your hard work and efforts in supporting and recognizing our IP system, and have a wonderful program and a happy World IP Day. Thank you. Seetal, back over to you.
Thank you so much, John. It was very well said. When it comes to startups or SMEs, they are the backbone. And it is so overwhelming to know that many of the students, after taking this exam and getting certified, they actually now know that they can have their own IP, they can have their own company and monetize it. So I think it's a step in right direction. And thank you so much for agreeing to offer the support. With this, I would like to recognize presence of the guest of honors, Shri Anil Sahasrabuddhe from AICT. Namaskar, sir. Welcome you to the award ceremony and also to the inaugural.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And with this, I would like to invite Dr. Ajay Garg, Senior Director at DATI, Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, to give his government remarks, please.
Thank you, Sheetal. Give me a minute. Huh?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Gives me a great pleasure to be part of this very, very important session. Let me first congratulate all of you on the World IP Day. I know it's a day after, or rather 2 days after the World IP Day, but I know looking at a lot of events that happen on that day, it is more apt to have it on a delay. Let me first congratulate ASSOCHAM and the enthusiasm that Sheetal brings in taking IP awareness through this very, very novel concept of IPTSE. We in the Ministry of Electronics and IT tried to create an awareness through an animation-based program, worked very closely with WIPO and made our own Indian animation tool. But in spite of that tool being of great quality, I would like to express my inability or my limited ability in taking that tool forward and actually creating the right set of awareness that was supposed to be there through that tool. I hope that IPTSE and the team will use that tool as one more element in taking awareness and education on IP forward. At the same time, I'd like to say that, and I'll agree with my friend in the US Embassy that the time is very, very important for the SMEs, the startups, and the young population to understand the importance of IP. For the simple reason that the world is now transgressing from Industry 3.0 to Industry 4.0. If we look at the telecom space, it is graduating from the 4G to the 5G space. And here where the advantage India comes, because prior in the Industry 3.0 or till the 4G space, we were the mere users of technology. We were the consumers of IP rather than producers of IP. The Industry 4.0 and the 5G space gives us an opportunity to be providers of technology, the providers of IP, and thereby have a more level playing field as far as IP monetization is concerned. And so we need to be far more uh, cognizant of the fact that IP is now an important economic tool for the future. The Industry 3.0 was for better consumer experience, better quality of experience on the interconnected world, but Industry 4.0 is problem solving in all sectors of economy through technology. And here, the India has a distinct advantage as compared to the technology creators for the last 30 years, whether it's from the Silicon Valley or from our friends in the East, because we, being the storehouse of problems, and at the same time have the requisite talent to convert those problems into solutions, which is aptly reflected in the 50,000 plus startups that India has, are rightly placed in the Industry 4.0 space to create IP and monetize IP. As far as the 4G space, which was basically hardware driven, the 5G is more software driven. And at the same time, India in the telecom sector has now matured that we are not only the consumers of IP related to 4G, but have been very participative, whether in the standard forming organizations or filing IPs around the 5G space. So we have a more equitable um, space in the 5G domain as compared to the 4G. And here, if we are actually have the ability to produce those IPs, so we have the ability to create monetization benefits around it. It's not necessary that India thinks only in terms of economic benefits, but if you are looking at a perspective with digital inclusion, with inclusion that the benefits of technology flows to all sectors of economy, it is important that you have to be robust, low cost, and frugal in your innovation ecosystem. And here, if we feel so that we have a distinct advantage in terms of IP creation in this space, so we need to be there. So in terms of creation, in terms of protection, and in terms of awareness around IP, it is important that the community understands this, and all industry, academia, and the government have a very important role in prolificating IP, the knowledge around IP and the perspective of IP with Indian ethos to the community as large. I congratulate SOCHAM for this very appropriate event and an appropriate awards. I congratulate all the award winners for their great service to creating the intellectual property of the future. And I hope this will be one silver lining in very tough times that we all are living. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garg. You gave a reference about IP Panorama, and I also saw that on the website, and we'll be more than happy to take it forward, sir, from there, and we'll meet you soon and see how to integrate it for the students. Thank you so much for your address, sir. With this, may I now request Dr. Sandeep Bansal from Ministry of Science and Technology to give his remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Sheetal. Chairperson AICT Professor Sazbuddin sir, Mr. Jones Kaveka, and friends from the panel and industries and academic institutions. Good afternoon. First of all, I want to congratulate the team IPTSE, SOCHAM, and Ericsson for formulating such a wonderful program for school students also. Earlier, we had programs for IP activities for college students only. Now we have a program for school students also. And in Department of Science and Technology, we are implementing a program Inspire Award Manak. That Manak means Million Mind Augmenting National Aspiration and Knowledge scheme to attract and motivate students in the age group of 10 to 15 years and studying in class 6 to 10 to become critical thinker and future innovator. The objective of our scheme is to select, provide support, and reward 1 lakh original ideas rooted in science and societal application to foster a culture of creativity and innovative thinking among school children. Under Inspire Award Manak scheme, in a financial year, 10 lakh ideas are being targeted from more than 5 lakh high schools of the country, out of which 1 lakh ideas are being shortlisted for an initial award of rupees 10,000 each, directly into the bank account of a student through DBT transfer for the preparation of project, model, or showcasing their idea to the different exhibitions. After the series of district level and state level exhibition, the top 60 innovations are selected from national level competition for whom incubation support is provided. In 2020, with all the constraints like closure of schools, limited interaction with classmates and teachers, we received about 6.5 lakh ideas from about 3 lakh schools to participate in the Manak competition by spotting a problem and finding its solution through their innovative thinking. The depth and variety in their ideas and innovations remind us of our national priorities. When country asked to Swachh Bharat, we saw a reflection of it few years ago. Gradually, when country decided to go digital, we noted the same level of significance attached to it through their ideas. On similar line, today, when country is choosing to be self-reliant, I am confident its milestone and destination will traverse through their imagination, which will only escalate the journey. Friends, as it is often said, an actor is as good as his or her director. In a complete incubation chain, like the one in Inspire Award Manak, it is not just about attracting the talent. More important question before us was to aware the students about intellectual property right. That gap was filled when we received a communication from SOCM Ericsson on July 2019 to collaborate with objective to create awareness about the intellectual property amongst the Indian school students. This collaboration between Manak and IPTSE brings greater synergies in boosting culture of innovation in the country. I am thankful to Team IPTSE for providing online resource material in area of intellectual property to Manak participants. Awareness about intellectual property rights not only helps students to protect their inventions, but also provide better collaboration and funding opportunities. India is currently recognized as third largest ecosystem in the world for startups and entrepreneurship activities after US and China. However, with the quality of talent we have, particularly among the school students, the day wouldn't be far when we could position ourselves at the top slot in the years to come. We now have a system in place that supports the culture of innovation and also the energy, willing and ready to accept that support and go further. On behalf of the team Manak and DST, I once again congratulate to team IPTSE for providing this opportunity to participate in this program to Manak students. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sandeep ji. I remember when we had come to your office, we were given an excellent idea to also produce a course on prior art searching. And that led Ericsson to support that endeavor, and we came up with that so that students are aware that when they apply for Manak Inspire, they come up with their own innovation, which is not present in the prior art. So thank you for giving us that suggestion, and also for partnering with Intellectual Property Talent Search Examination. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With this, may I request Dr. A.K. Mittal now from TSDSI to give his remarks, please.
Thank you, Sheetal. And I must thank SHM for inviting me on this occasion of celebration of World IP Day. Of course, as was indicated, it's 2 days later, but it's really a good event, and the opportunity of giving awards to the budding talents is what better opportunity can it be than to have a conclave like this on this occasion. Actually, the world of IP is becoming very complex, and coming from a telecom background, I see that the way technology is moving, and it is visible to all of us, the way it is moving, the innovations are happening same way the IPs are being innovated, IPs are coming and they are being inserted in the standards, and then they are being commercialized or monetized. And if we see the Indian tradition, I just draw an example from our past, not a recent past, but a longer past, that innovations in India were open to everybody. It was a principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that whatever you do is for everybody. But then those were the very old times. But now, with the world trade and without any barriers and innovations happening, the industrial economy and the economies of the countries thus depend on the monetization of the intellectual property. So that is the reality today, and reality is actually more complex than it may look on the face. That you have an IPR, you monetize it, so it cannot be that simple. And people who deal with IPR here may know it better. I will not go into the detail. But coming back to the standards side, the major potential of monetization of IPRs is actually getting them into the standards. So it leads us to two things. One is that we create awareness for standards along with awareness for IPs, IPR creation. And also, second part is that we drive research which is standards, which leads to standardization, or which has the potential of creating an IP or becoming part of a major standard or any standard of a product where it can be monetized. And standards-driven research, one can say that we have so much research happening in the academia, and those schemes are also funded by the various government schemes, and maybe, we don't know, IPs may also be generated. But what we find is that with so many projects being funded, very few may be aware that how much IPR is actually getting generated from that, or how many of those projects are actually contributing to standards. That part, at least I see an opportunity. We have officers from DST and MIT, and funding of projects is done from, research projects is done from these two departments and maybe other bodies also. So is there a possibility, or I do not know whether it is already being done, to have a filter applied to recognize the projects being funded which have a potential for becoming part of a standard or creating a standard themselves, and pay special attention to that. And standards bodies like DSI, TEC and others actually can help if there are projects corresponding to information and communication technology. And then bring those people around to the standards body and fund them even to the extent that they are able to become member of the organizations and contribute along with the industry, so that standards are developed transparently and with the participation of wider industry support. So if that happens, actually we will combine the research and IP generation together. And also, as was mentioned by one of the previous speakers, that from MIT, that we should be IP creators. Really, that is the actual motto. And when we do IP creation and be seen in the international fora, then somewhere we have to club ourselves with those activities where standards are happening, and people who are IP creators are also join that stream. And so that research is funded. Second part is where the toughest part with standards is that it is not that you participate in a standards body meeting in India. The standards have to become global to have a real meaning. And for that, one needs to travel. The people who create standards, they need to travel. They have to see how international bodies work and how to, create an environment and collaboration in the foreign bodies to get their IPRs incorporated or solutions incorporated in the standards. So that funding for those travels, so it starts from funding from the project, funding for becoming a member of the standards body, and funding for travel. So this framework, along with the funding of the overall research, somewhere it has to be thought that how, as a country, we can do that. If some efforts are going on in that direction, it's good, but more probably can be done. Second part is that create as the effort of IPTSE is, to create talent in the country for creation and nurturing of IPs. Now, this event being an Olympiad type of event, probably this has a big potential of being supported by government. I already see there is a collaboration with DST. So probably this kind of event, this event or this type of events can be, can be had at a very large scale and very repeatedly, and so that more and more awareness is created, more people come forward. And along with that, it appears necessary that not only awareness, but also it should become part of curriculum, especially for sciences, courses in various sciences, engineering, management courses, and other courses which one can think of, where the IP chapters or IP course is a part of the overall curriculum, so that we know we have people who have been educated on this, and then when they come to the IP world, they know they become much better, because the subject is very wide. It has dimensions on legal side, it has dimensions on filing of IPRs, it has dimensions of how to create an IPR, how to negotiate for pricing of IPR. So there are so many dimensions to this. So ideas of that can be given during those courses. And when they come to the world, they have the ABC known, and then they are not afraid, or they don't find themselves trapped into a world where the world is very cruel. The IP world and the standards world is very cruel. It is not easy to really embed your solutions into the standards. So I think a combination of these will actually help the initiative which has been taken for nurturing the talent. So we can make the scope wider, can support it. The government is already spending money, probably some kind of fine tuning may be required, in my opinion. And people, the children coming out of the colleges, schools and colleges, they are more aware. And we should not also forget that the entrepreneurs, startups, MSMEs, and any other entrepreneurs, probably some kind of IP courses can be, specific courses can be run for them, also tailored for Indian requirements and to prepare them for the world. So probably with that thought, I will stop here. And again, thanking SHM, and also congratulating all the awardees who will be getting the award in the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mittal. And you rightly mentioned, unless and until this IP is introduced in the course curriculum, its value, its importance cannot be enough and understood. Because even when we have been 3 years ago, and we've been pushing hard, and even now there is a pull and push mechanism both. And we really want students to take this up. And they say that we read maths, we do science, what is this new thing? So it's not as easy to convince them, but thank you for taking this up. And I'm sure AICT, under the leadership of Dr. Sahasra Buddhe, I hope it will be soon done to have course curriculum at each level. Thank you so much. With this, may I request Dr. Sandeep Singhai from CSIR for his address, please. And I think he will be presenting quick presentation.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. So, Professor Anil Sahasra, Chairman AICTE, Sri Aman Sinha from SOCHM, Madam, and all the panelists. Thank you for giving me this opportunity on this event. And I would like to basically put some light on the societal context of IPR. And I will try to put up a case from CSIR India, wherein CSIR has been successful in nourishing a human capital, and then that human capital nourishment has taken the things to the next level in a typical ARI and a SME context. So to start my thing, I recently was discussing a young brother of mine about who is in a services business context, and he was communicating some NSE audit. And in that audit, he was replying that he does not have a licensed operating system. Meantime, on a chance discussion with me, I was really shocked by his ignorance. Believe me, this is the case with millions of us. We are not aware how much an IP violation may cost us, or in fact, how much they value. I strongly believe a strong IP awareness is the need of the hour, and I thank the organizers for coming up with this event like IP Olympiad at every level. I congratulate the team for their vision and efforts. I also congratulate the participants for their quest towards utopia. So here I would like to present a case wherein CSIR has nurtured next generation innovators and creator. A scientist named M.K. Patel joined CSIR CSIO in 2010, and he was a fresh graduate from NIT Jamshedpur, and he was inducted in a program called Postgraduate Research Program in Engineering. He was embossed with the CSIR culture, which basically works on the mission, pursues science which strives for global impact, the technology that enables innovation-driven industry, and nurtures transdisciplinary leadership, thereby catalyzing economic development for the people of India. Dr. Patel.
Sorry to interrupt. I am at least not able to see your slides moving unless others are able to see it. Are you moving your slides?
Yeah, I am navigating. Is the navigation?
On page 1.
I don't know.
We also cannot see it moving, just to reiterate.
Yeah.
But the navigation is on my side. What to do?
Sir, I would request, please tell me the page and I will do that. This is Gaurav from SHM. I'll do that. So just tell me the page.
Kindly go to 4th slide.
Right, sir?
Yeah. Is it visible to the participants now?
No. I think first you have to unshare and then it has to be shared from.
Correct, exactly.
Yes.
Now can anyone see?
Yes.
Is it visible now?
It is.
Yeah,
Yes,
CSIR nurturing next generation innovators and creators. So an young scientist, fresh graduate from NIT Jamshedpur, joined CSIO in 2010. And he was inducted under a program called Postgraduate Research Program in Engineering. He was embossed with the CSIR culture, which works with the mission, pursues science which strives for global impact, the technology that enables innovation-driven industry, nurtures transdisciplinary leadership, thereby catalyzing inclusive economic development for the people of India. He was inducted into a live project named Electrostatic Spraying Technologies. And this project was basically funded by Department of Science and Technology. Now, in a span of 10 years, that portfolio of technologies has converged into a host of Indian and foreign IPs, consultancies, and recognitions. Kindly move to the next slide. Gaurav, if you can hear me, kindly navigate to the next slide. Can you hear me, Gaurav? Okay, no issues. So in the, thereby, if
can you yourself try next slide, because I don't think Gaurav is sharing. You are only sharing still.
But it is not moving actually.
Yeah, it's moving now.
Yeah,
it is moving. Thank you.
So as you can see visually, this is a young chap who joined this institute, and it's a saga of success from invention to protected technology in a span of 10 years, starting from advanced electrostatic pesticides sprayer, moving into disinfection with the COVID thing coming in, as well as the dust mitigation and innovation smoke control devices. All these products are being manufactured right now by SMEs, and further work is going on coating systems for foods. Then we have one such there was one imported part which we indigenized in the course, and a power supply also which we did indigenized. And we also did some work in the locust control which recently happened in Rajasthan, and we are working on autonomous vehicles for electrostatic spraying purposes. And you can see the type of, with this coverage, you can see the type of he has got, and the work is being taken up. And all this has happened due to only one thing, that the host of technologies which he developed were all protected by various IPs in India, US, and Canada. And those IPs are helping him a lot in coming up for new projects as well as vouching for new technologies. So with this case, the point I want to put forward is that in a typical ARI to SME context also, IP is very important. And as the awareness for IP grows, it will be quite evident that the efforts of SOCHM in this direction would be quite fruitful. With this, I take rest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandeep ji, for sharing this live example, and I hope this will be a benchmark for many of the students who are right now live watching this conclave and the awards. Thank you so much for coming in. I know it was very last minute invite to you, and you have really helped by coming and sharing this. With this, may I now request Ms. Monica Magnuson, Vice President IPR Policy from Ericsson, to share her thoughts, please.
Thank you, Sheetal. Joining you from Stockholm, Sweden, I would like to start by acknowledging the difficulty.
Can we have your video? Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. Joining you from Stockholm, Sweden, I would like to start by acknowledging the difficulties of the current times. I don't really have the proper words, but I do think we're learning from it across the world, that to get through this, we really have to work together, as I'm sure we will. So dignitaries, delegates, and dear friends, again, let me warmly welcome you to this third IPTSE. Thanks for joining, which aims to bring together the brightest minds for acknowledging the growing importance of IPR in India, to raise awareness about intellectual property rights among young students in the country. The IPTSE initiative was launched in 2018, supported by Ericsson wholeheartedly. This initiative has led to several thousands of people connecting, numerous individuals having taken its proctored IP examination. The reason why Ericsson supports this initiative is because we truly believe in innovation and creativity. We do it for a living. We are a leader in standardization and have more than 57,000 granted patents. We have a vast pool of scientists with a variety of experience. Our foundational 5G patent that has been granted in several countries lists more than 130 inventors. This is indicative of the technological complexity that required several brains to work together in intensive R&D with a consumer-centric approach to bring the best technologies to the world. IPR is essential to safeguard the rights of innovators in various sectors and is an important aspect of research and development across industries. Favorable policies and effective implementation of IPRs can lead to a surge in innovation. The Indian government has made a focused and laudable effort to support investments in innovation and creativity through increasingly robust IP protection and enforcement. For knowledge-based economies such as India, the protection of intellectual property is crucial for promoting innovation and creativity, developing employment, and improving competitiveness. With its talent pool and rich heritage of producing technology innovators, India can become a leader in IP and innovation. We're extremely happy to notice that there are initiatives being undertaken for raising IP awareness and sensitization work at schools, colleges, customs, judiciary, etc., resulting in an increase in domestic patent footprint. At the same time, there's still a lot to be done to further promote a culture of IP creation at academic level. It's therefore encouraging that a significant number of MOUs have been signed by several educational institutes for this initiative. These colleges are, as a result, promoting IP awareness within their campuses. We believe it's important to nurture young talents and establish IP awareness and importance already at the educational level and encourage protection of innovation. This is the right way to invent. The right measures can foster innovation and boost economic growth of the country. Ericsson considers the optimization of protection and management of IPRs and timeliness to be among the priority goals for improvement of the Indian IPR ecosystem. In this context, it's extremely important that future generations are educated and understand the ramification of their decisions on society, industry, and the economy. IPR is too vast to be just one field. You will find it in every field out there, not just law and technology. From sports to designs to even fashion, intellectual property touches every industry, especially if you're a creator or an innovator of any kind. If you have a novel idea, the most important thing is to know your own intellectual property rights so that you can protect them, irrespective of what sort of idea it may be. Thus, the IPTSE team devised various categories under which individuals can enroll, such as law or research, science, engineering, and tech, design and fashion, etc. As the initiative is progressing, it's receiving great support from various government departments, such as the Ministry of Science and Technology, the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, National Research Development Council, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, and many, many more. Very impressive. I strongly believe that the IPTSE initiative will facilitate for individuals in their career paths, as we just heard mentioned. For example, if you're looking at a career in law, knowledge of IPR will also help you to understand a more specific path you could take. If you're looking at a career in media, you know how to protect the work you create. In addition to this, it can also help young people distinguish their profile early on and give them that additional advantage over their peers. IPTSE 2021 offers opportunities for school students, university students, law students who may or may not have prior knowledge of IPR design and media students and researchers. We hope to see more students understanding and utilizing IP and harnessing its power to innovate and create. For art, for technology, for beauty, for profit, for the future of India. And on the way there to that future, for IPTSE 2022, I really hope we can meet face-to-face in person again. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Monica. I know how much internally within Ericsson we deliberate to get the best for the school student, for college students, to get this initiative get bigger. I know, and I really want to acknowledge here that the team from IPTSE Academy hasn't slept for many days. They've been all awake doing all this so that, today what we are seeing on screen can happen. And I'm really happy that ASSOCHAM and Ericsson have supported this initiative of IPTSE Academy. And I hope that this will go far, far ahead with AICT also coming on board. With this, thank you so much for all the great speeches, remarks by each one of you during inaugural. Dr. Sahasrabuddhe, I think the time has come to announce the awards for which our young generation and everybody is waiting. Sir, with your permission, allow me to announce the first set of awards. Then we invite you for your great remarks, and then we announce the second set with your great permission, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sheetal. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Gaurav, I'll be just sharing my screen. Let me know if you start to see it.
Sure.
I'll just try to open this up. Okay, guys, get ready for your awards which are being announced. आप लोगों ने बहुत मेहनत किया है, खूब अच्छे से काम किया है, and here is the reward for all of you. So I'm just gonna share it now with you. Let me know if you are able to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. I'll just put it on slideshow so that you can see it from the beginning in a full show. All right. So as you can see, this is the part 1 of Intellectual Property Talent Search Examination Awards. Many congratulations for your great efforts for participating. Here are the three categories that I'll be announcing before our guest of honors give his address. Category 1 is about the national winners from school and colleges both. Category 2 will be the best college award, and 3 will be the IP recognition awards for government institutions and employees there. Is my screen moving?
Yes.
All
yes.
right. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you
go
so
ahead.
much, Dr. Anil, for confirming. So category 1, national winners from college or university students. Here is the name first. National All India rank holder. First prize goes to Sangeeta, and she's from Gujarat National Law University. Sangeeta, many congratulations to you, bache, for appearing for this, and you really make us all feel proud. May I request all of you, you've been given panelist rights, all the winners from government, from school, colleges, universities, please put your video on at this time. I also request all the panelists, esteemed panelists for panel that is upcoming, and also during the inaugural who all spoke, please put your videos on so that picture could be taken. So the second award goes to Saundarya Rathore. She's from School of Law, Christ University, Bangalore. Third All India rank holder is Lokesh Vyas. He's from Institute of Law, Nirma University, Ahmedabad. Many congratulations to all the national champions from college. Now let us announce category 1 school awards. And I feel so happy when IPTSE Academy team, Ria, Vansh, and people from Weber Shan, we were all making these PPTs. I think we all were so happy in putting their names. It was a great excitement as if we are receiving the awards. So it's a school award now. National champion, All India rank holder. First prize goes to Ankur Yadav. He's from Vidya Gyan School. May I request all of you to please go on mute so that there are no background noises. Thank you so much. Please keep your videos on at all times. He's from Vidya Gyan School, Sitapur, Uttar Pradesh. The second prize goes to Guru Sharan. He's from AECS Magnolia, Maruti Public School, Bangalore. He wins All India rank holder, second prize. Congratulations. The third prize winner is Sonu Yadav. He's again from Vidya Gyan School, Sitapur, UP. And I'm very fully sure that you must have done a team coordination and work, and you must have studied together to make sure that your school becomes the name here today that we are able to announce. Congratulations once again. Now here is category 2 awards for best college awards. We are all clapping for all of you. You can't hear claps maybe, but let me do it for you. Very good work, all kids. And so this is the best college awards, and let me just tell you that these are 3 colleges who have done great work. They've been all the way through with us. They've been asking us for many webinars, for many such panel discussions, and therefore it has led maximum registrations from these colleges. The first is Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore. And I would really like to thank Dr. Hari Prasad for coming and receiving the award. He's head center of IPR at Karpagam. I hope, sir, your video is on. I can't see it right now, but thank you so much. I know how much effort you have done within your college to make sure that your students participate, and you're really doing great work. Thank you so much, and many congratulations. The second winner is, the runner-up is Symbiosis Law School, Pune. And I'm much thankful to Dr. Shashikala Gurpur. She's a director at Symbiosis Law School. Thank you so much, ma'am, for making sure that Symbiosis comes up front in the field of IP, and it's a great pride factor that you all are doing great work in the field of IP. Many congratulations. The second runner-up is Gujarat National Law University. It is being received by Dr. Nidhi. She's the head center for IPR, Gujarat National Law University. Thank you so much for being there. I know you all have been interviewed by IPTSE team, and we will continue to receive your support. Anything that you need from us, IPTSE Academy and the entire crew is there for you. I hope your videos are on at this stage. Category 3 awards for the first set of awards that I'm announcing before I call upon our guest of honors is the IP Recognition Awards. Let me tell you, these are people, these are government officials, government departments who have done absolutely meticulous job. I mean, we do whatever, we cannot match their rigor, their inspiration, their energy. And therefore, we thought it is absolutely important to felicitate them for their impeccable contribution in the field of IP during COVID times. This is announced in the alphabetical order, not in any particular priority. And Dr. Sasrabudde, I really want your lots of claps for them as well, and shabashi on their back for their great work. So the first goes to Dr. Vijay Kumar Sahu. He's the one most known to all of us from National Research Development Council. Dr. Sahu, many congratulations. Your work inspires all of us a lot. I'm not going to read the complete designation. It is up on the website on this presentation, but many congratulations from NRDC that you've done great work. Keep it up. Anything that you need from IPTSE Academy, we are all there to support you in your endeavor and collaborate. The next award goes to iHub of Gujarat, Government of Gujarat. Anjuji, if you are there right now, please put your videos on. Dr. Anju Sharma, IS Officer, Principal Secretary of Higher and Technical Education, Government of Gujarat, has kindly accepted to receive this award on behalf of the entire crew of iHub. Great work, ma'am, by your team, and wish you all the very best. And we look forward to collaborating with you going forward. Anything that you need from us, we are there. The third is, so it's not in first, second, third. I'm just announcing the names in that order, purely in the name of alphabetical order. But this is a felicitation award, IP Recognition Award. Goes to Manak Inspire Initiative of Department of Science and Technology. We heard Sandeep ji speak during the inaugural about this. And all the school students, whoever is listening to us, please go to the website, check out Manak Inspire. You can be your next, innovator from this country. Please participate in this and wish you all the very best. Dr. Sanjay Mishra, I know you are unable to join us today. You initially kindly accepted to receive the award on behalf of the entire Manak Inspire project. Dr. Sandeep Bansal, wish you many congratulations, and my clappings, and everyone I'm sure is clapping for the great effort by all of you. Next is Dr. Mohit Gambhir. We interviewed him, I think, a week and a half ago. It was amazing interview with him. He's again a true inspiration for all of us. Director Innovation Cell from Ministry of Education. I know whether it's night, 12 o'clock, early mornings, he's all up and awake. I think it's his passion, just like all others, to do something really good for the country. Wish you all the very best, Dr. Mohit. The next is the Patent Information Center and WIPO, UN's Technology Innovation Support Center. We call it as PSCST. And we are very happy that Dr. Jatendra Kaur Arora, Executive Director from PCST, has agreed to receive this award on behalf of the entire crew who has been working so much. Dr. Jitendra, I hope your videos is on and the presenter rights have been given to you. We are very happy for your department. You've done great work. Keep it up. Anything that you need from IPTSE Academy, we'll be more than happy to support. Also, we would like to felicitate and recognize, I know he has not been able to come today. Family emergency, he had to be at home with his father, Mr. Satish Kumar, Assistant Director from Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, for his great work. I know under his presence now at Ministry, his leadership, there are many IP facilitation centers multiple of those that have been granted to a lot of chambers, to a lot of other institutes. Many congratulations, Mr. Satish, and all of you will receive your trophies. I know it's COVID and it might delay a bit, but we'll make sure the team is making sure that you all receive your trophies sooner. I would also like to congratulate and felicitate on behalf of the entire team of IPTSE, on behalf of all of us, to Dr. Yashwandev Panwar. We all know him from TIFAC, Ministry of Science and Technology, Head Facilitation Center, a Patent Facilitation Center. I know him since ages, but today we all got the chance to award him as well. Felicitate him. Thank you so much, sir, for your great work and for your consistent work in this realm. Nothing can stop you, I know, because you have your passion speaks from your gut. So thank you so much for being there, being part of the IP community. With this, I would like the entire set of awardees, and many thanks for giving us the opportunity to even announce your names. I know we can't even be at any parallel to you in terms of the efforts that you are making, whether it's students or any of you, but you are a true inspiration for all of us. With this, may I request Gaurav to remove the presentation, and Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe, over to you, sir, for all looking forward to hear you.
Thank you, Dr. Sheetal Chopra. I hope it is audible. I have unmuted.
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations for all those who have received the awards just now announced by Dr. Sheetal, whether it is national winners, whether it is best college category, or whether it is IP recognition for the government institutions. And then two more categories are going to come, which are domain specific awards and communication awards. I think I, in advance, congratulate them as well, because I will not be speaking after that. First of all, I would like to also congratulate all these agencies who have come together, ASSOCHAM and the Ericsson on one side, and then IPTSE, the entire group comprising of the Ministry of ST, DST, the NRDC, the Inspire part of it, iHub, all of them who have come together. I don't know why AICT is missing, so AICT will also be on board. So you reminded me twice, so I remember this, and we will see to it that our logo is also posted onto this along with all others. So I congratulate all of you for this third IP Conclave for IPTSE Awards, and the very focus of that of searching the talent. You know, we have talent search for physics, chemistry, math, Olympiads, and there are scholarships awarded, but why not for IP? And this itself being the third conclave where the awards are being given, it has been successful because more and more people are joining, more students are joining, both from college, university, and this time also from the school sector. So first of all, knowing about what is IP, awareness of it, then followed by that, this talent exam where we check whether students have understood to what extent that awareness has percolated down the line. We test it through an exam. This exam could be maybe objective type, but nevertheless, whether they have understood some of those nuances will be understood through this particular exam. And some categories we are also interviewing. Naturally, the depth of understanding will be reflected in terms of that, especially when you said about IP recognition for the government institute, organizational people, they were all interviewed. So their depth will also be understood. The next one, which is very important, is the IP support system. I will reflect upon what AICT and Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell is doing for this particular purpose of supporting 10,000 filing of patents per annum from all of these educational institutions. 10,000 number is not very large, but nevertheless, it will create an impetus. Vis-a-vis either China or US, these numbers are still appearing to be small, But with the current numbers that exist, I think supporting for 10,000 patent filing from AICT is going to be a game changer. And that will accelerate. And also our rule is that after every one patent is filed, we will give for the second patent filing the support. And that means the actual number of patents filed could be as large as 20,000. So this is one area which is very important in terms of protection of IP. Some of the speakers, when I was listening very carefully to Mr. John Kabeka, then Ms. Monica from the Ericsson, as well as from our own Indian side, Dr. Ajay Garg, Dr. Mittal, Sandeep Singhai, Dr. Bansal, all of them were repeatedly talking about various facets of the IP creation, IP maintenance, and IP support, creating of startups, which are very large in number. In India, we today stand at as much as 30,000 startups to 50,000 startups, which have come up in the recent past. So that means there is a great awareness about creating startups out of the innovation that the students are doing. And on our side, for the last 4 years, what we have started doing is Smart India Hackathons, which is continuously supported by the ministry as well as by the Prime Minister himself. That is where the open challenging problems of the government, of the society, of the ministries, of the MSME, of the industry, given to the young students, and they come out with out-of-the-box solutions, has proved that many of these solutions are now adopted by those agencies, be it DRDO, be it Health Ministry, be it Railways, be it small scale and medium scale industries, and also Education Ministry. So that means the support that we are providing in terms of even problem solving ability to be created among students innovatively is showing the results which are being adopted by different ministries. There is a huge talent that exists in our country and we need to tap it. And if you tap it right from school days, it is much better. And there are two important things when I talk about school system. We already have Niti Aayog and Atal Innovation Mission, which has been spearheading the initiative of creating several thousands of tinkering labs. There are already 10,000 of them in place. And AICT and Atal Innovation Mission have already signed an MOU that how our 10,000 colleges are there, in which there are innovation councils. Maybe 1,000 of them are active, 2,000 are in place. So if all of these 1,000 institutions start supporting 5 schools where there is a Atal Tinkering Lab, I'm sure that the spirit of innovation will start building up right from school times. And when such students, they come to the higher education, be it in arts, commerce, science college or engineering or medical or law, I'm sure they will outperform all other students in terms of intellectual property. The second part is our nation, our country has been always thinking about Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu, and therefore we are not so much keen on making patents and trying to, commercialize or monetize and then make money out of that. Many of our people want to give it away free. But my advice to all such people is the older era and the ancient times are different from the modern times. In the modern times, if you do not patent, someone else will patent, and probably for the knowledge which you already have or which you have created, you will have to pay from the nose. And that is what I remember those days about a decade and a half ago when Dr. Mashelkar had to fight tooth and nail for saving our some of the ancient knowledge, traditional knowledge which existed at every home, and that is being patented somewhere outside. And therefore, patenting is a necessity thing, intellectual property creation, and then making it in the form of patent is very valid and important. Subsequently, it is up to you whether you want to commercialize it, monetize it, or give it free of cost. So it is your honor to give it free of cost to all those people. We all talk about free and open source software. How is it created? It's created by people who work in their laboratories, in their computer centers, and in smaller groups, and that is shared by each one of them to all others. So the spirit of sharing can also continue. And this is all the more important in the COVID times, when during pandemic in the last 1.25 years, we have understood the importance of humanity, the importance of sharing and caring for each other. So even if we have an intellectual property, we can share it with others free of cost. No one says that you have to charge money for that. But if you don't have it, someone else will do it. And then you will have to pay from your pocket. And that is very, very significant and important. So our support for patenting is ongoing. There are more than about 40,000-50,000 startups which have emerged, and I'm aware of 11 unicorns which came up during pandemic. Imagine when the whole world economy is going down, there are 11 unicorns who are coming out from Indian ecosystem of startups, which is the third largest ecosystem. But the kind of activities which we are encouraging now today, whether it is from AICT and the Ministry of Education, whether it is from the Science and Technology Ministry, whether it is Department of Biotechnology, whether it is IPTSE, which you are organizing these programs with the support from ASSOCHAM and Ericsson. I'm sure right from school days, when students are engaged into this activity, our ranking in innovation will also improve, which has already improved in the last 5 years. From 81st position, we today stand at 48th position. And with this kind of activities, supporting the tinkering labs, connecting tinkering labs with the engineering colleges, and going there and not only doing innovation, but even encouraging them. That the patting on the back is also very, very important. That's what Dr. Abdul Kalam used to do. He used to go to different laboratories, talk to them in the late evening, night, take a stroll, and then say that, oh, you're doing wonderful thing. Maybe it is not so wonderful, but the very pat from a person like Dr. Kalam used to encourage those students to create further, whether it is scientists or students, to do further, better and better. And therefore, this particular activity needs to be scaled up. And we have our own ecosystem of startups. I'm aware Silicon Valley ecosystem is one of the finest in the world, but there are replicas which are doing, and each ecosystem has to be having its own roots. They may not be exactly the similar. In India, we have in Bangalore, in Chennai, in Hyderabad, in Pune, in Gurgaon. There are a lot of startups which are emerging from small places. And what is interesting is, because of our hackathon and creation of these various types of innovation council institutions, giving them problem statements, Kapila, then we also have a program where we are onboarding all these innovations on a portal called Yukti. And that is where from level 1, 2, 3, 6, we are trying to engage them and support them, mentor them. And if you do all of that, more and more number of startups will start emerging, and also patenting will start happening. I think I can go on, but I will stop here. I'm really excited that this is an organization which is supporting our young students, and let them all be safe from the corona crisis. We have to help each other during this pandemic. And this is very significant, and not only saving yourself, but your family, your friends. And that is the spirit of collaboration, which we have to do with world as one family. And during last few months, when India exported or gave free of cost several during vaccination time, different countries were supported by us. Today we are in crisis, other countries are supporting us. So it is a global village where we have to help each other. With these few words, congratulating all the winners, and those who have not won, don't lose your hearts. And in startups, we say only 5% or 6% succeed. Remaining have to again redo something else. So you try next time, and there is always a next time. With these few words, thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Anil sir, for giving your support to support this initiative. Believe you me, sir, this has become a big project in itself. Everyone is really looking forward to it. And let me also convey that IPTSE Academy is like a startup. And if all of us support a startup, I think we would have done, half of the job would have been done. And I think initiatives such as IPTSE are like self-sustaining, which is most important, whether you are able to give more employment, generate more employment, activate the interest. And sir, I really want to mention that there are a lot of honorary advisors, 6 to 7 from academia, very senior. And one of the honorary advisor I would like to really speak here about Aman Sinha. He's from Bosch IP Council, but he has come on board as honorary advisor fully. And Dr. Alka Chawla from Delhi University, Purushottam ji from Andhra University. There are so many. If you look at the website, you'll find, and I must be taking everybody's name for sure, but just to be in crisp, this thing that There are academicians, there are industry people who are supporting it, working professionals to support it, and taking it forward, sir. Sir, with your permission, please allow me to announce second set of awards. I know सब लोग wait कर रहे हैं कि उनका नाम कब आएगा. So please allow me to do that as well. I'll be sharing my screen again.
Go on.
हाँ जी sir. Sure. I'm just trying to open up the slides and now share. Please let me know if this comes on a view window.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. Then I'll just put it on the slideshow. One second. Slideshow I cannot put, I don't know, first. 1 second. From beginning. Can you see it now, all of you?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
All right. May I request all of you to please have your video switched on at this time? Whoever, Gaurav, I don't know if you have given the access to presentation rights to the awardees for part 2 also. If not, please do it now. And maybe we can wait for a couple of seconds for you to do it, if it is possible, so that they can be videoed. Anil sir, everyone wanted to have a picture with you.
Give me a two minutes.
So they really asked if they'll be able to get their photograph with you so that they can put it on their LinkedIn profiles and everywhere, because they're super excited, sir. उन्होंने बहुत मेहनत किया है सभी ने, and I really want Gaurav to put them up into the presentation rights mode as well.
Give me a second.
Yes, we are waiting. And right now, when we are announcing the results, even, you know, there are a lot of communications to me, you know, can we get a picture with sir? So we really want to do justice with them, and allow us a couple of minutes to wait so that Gaurav can do the needful. Gaurav, shall we start?
Go ahead, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. So here is much awaited part 2 awards announcement. 2 categories, as Dr. Sahasrabuddhe already mentioned. Category 4 is with regard to domain specific awards, because like I said, IPTSE Academy introduced domain specific examination, which is all objective type in science, research, pharmaceutical, and then there is design also, architecture, law, and we'll announce them, and then IPTSE YouTube Teacher Awards. So category 4, domain specific, let's announce for the law domain. The first prize is to Aparthiba Debre. He's from Institute of Law, Nirma University, Ahmedabad. Congratulations, Bache. You've done great work. Continue to do it, and please give your inputs in your entire journey of this 3rd edition. Any improvements that you need from us, the team will be happy to do that for you, for all of you. Second prize winner is Sarvagya Chitranshi. He's from Gujarat National Law University. Many congratulations to you for winning this domain specific award in law category. Third prize is to Idhika Agarwal. She's from Symbiosis Law School, Pune. I hope your videos are on, including the panelists for the next session, including those who were present in the inaugural. Please keep your videos on at this time so that team can click the pictures. Thank you so much for putting in so much of a labor to win this. Congratulations. So next domain is research and sciences. This included the entire life science stream, including pharmaceutical, etc. And the first prize winner is Rakhi Kabia. She's from Acropolis Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research from Indore. Rakhi, bahut mubarak. Many congratulations to all of you for winning this award. Second prize winner in the same category, research, is Armash Momin Zakir. He's from Bharati Vidyapeeth University, Pune. Many congratulations, bache. The third prize winner is Pranay Sethi. He's from Ford School of Management. Many congratulations to all of you once again. Next is the engineering and technology domain. This includes the entire stream of engineering and the technology side. And the first prize winner is Patsy V. She's from BS Abdur Rahman University from Chennai. Congratulations. Second prize winner is Anant Narayan M. He's from NMAM Institute of Technology, Karnataka. We've made sure to put your pictures, your certificates, so that because it's a feeling, it's a moment of great pride. Show it to your parents. I know this will remain to be in your golden letters in the resume when you make it for your further future endeavors. Third prize is to Kunal Garg. He's from Lovely Professional University, Jalandhar. Many congratulations to all of you. The next category in the domain specific awards is design and multimedia domain. I just want to do this check. Is my slide moving?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
All right. So design and multimedia domain, it's a recognition award to Vishal Sharma. Why it's a recognition award? Because the design area mein, there were anyway very few people who were able to qualify this exam. Maybe the question paper is a bit tough, but he's the one who scored very good score. And congratulations, he's from NMAM Institute of Technology, Karnataka. Many congratulations. Okay, so here comes category 5 awards. Anil sir, just to mention to you, they are the people, you'll find all ladies right now in this award, not by choice, but by chance, because they are people who are all working professionals, came forward and volunteered for the exam, for the activity. And it was, I think, I had first meeting on behalf of IPTSE Academy with them almost 2 months ago, and where we asked them to participate. Full fervor, they participated. Very interesting videos, sir. And all of you, please go to IPTSE YouTube channel, watch their videos, encourage them, comment, subscribe, so that they feel honored for their activity, for their effort. So this first winner is Pallavi Bhatia. She's a student of Rajiv Gandhi School of Intellectual Property Law, which we all know as RGIOPL from IIT Kharagpur. Many congratulations, Pallavi. Pallavi also volunteered to support IPTSE blog content writing with a big team of hers, where she works with a lot of students to develop creative content and which gets uploaded. Many congratulations. Her title of the recent video, I think it was uploaded 3 or 4 days ago, and she got more than 500 views and a lot of subscribers. So her articulation was also very good. And it was on balancing intellectual property and public necessities, which of course during COVID times, she must have thought that this appropriate theme to come up with. So many congratulations to you, Pallavi, once again. The first runner-up is Ankita Tyagi. She created 2 videos, out of which one could win this runner-up award. Unleashing the potential of brand values. Ankita Tyagi is also an IPR expert and also from a senior official at European Business Technology Center. I know how much active she is. Her passion speaks. And all the time she's approachable. You give her the topic and she's happy to create a video. I think she made a video on summary of one of the very famous movie, The Founder, about McDonald's and how this entire journey of McDonald's happened, who created IP, who made the entire name, who had the brand wealth. It was a great journey that she shared out of that that movie as a summary. It was very good. I encourage all of you to please watch it. The second runner-up is Dr. Maureen Ghosh. She is TIFAC woman scientist. If those who don't know, TIPEC runs Women Scientist Initiative, where these women scientists are trained for the whole year and they are given internship. She is an individual with a great mental strength, as she has a lot of knowledge on IP. She created a couple of videos, and this is what won the award: patent or trade secret, what suits my invention best. So she tried to demystify the two components of IP in a very articulative manner. I think her pitch was very nice. You keep on, you really want to hear her again and again. The third runner-up is Dr. Ashmita Sahu. She is again TIPEC woman scientist. Hers was the first video that got uploaded. Very articulative. She is celebrating the contribution of women in technology and innovation was her topic. Very apt because that was the time when this particular day was going on to celebrate women creativity, and that's how she came up for a video. With this, I congratulate each one of you, and Anil sir, if you are still there, please just speak a few words for second category of award winners also, sir. For all of them.
Each one of them have done wonderfully well. I had already in advance congratulated all of them. But now, after the announcement of the awards, especially this award for creating various videos and posting them. And as you rightly said, all of them are women, and not by choice, but design, but because of their talent that they have exhibited. I think that talent of creativity is inbuilt in women more than men. That we should acknowledge that, and that is why probably they came out as the winners in this particular category. And many of them, either in the education field or law, they have the nuances known to them, and creating a creative short video in their free time. I must compliment them, and we should all acknowledge that more such videos should come onto the platform, which will encourage our young children to watch them and then become innovators.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sasar Budde, for accepting the invitation, for joining. It is absolutely a great encouragement for the entire IPTSE Academy crew, and we'll surely meet you soon, sir. COVID thoda settle ho jaye, but we surely need AICT support. Thank you so much, sir, once again. And with this, I would like to give baton to Aman Sinha, Honorary Advisor at IPTSE Academy, now to take care of the next panel. Please invite the people from Keynote address, for your panelists, your moderator. Please go ahead. Anil sir, thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Let us meet sometime and then move on.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, and all the other distinguished guests for joining us. So now I will be taking over the baton from Dr. Sheetal. So now we will move on to the next portion of the panel discussion. So we are going to be having the panel discussion on IP matchmaking, IP sellers and buyers platform. So first, we will be having the keynote address by Mr. Urban Gelstad for the IPR and licensing head for Ericsson. So please take over the stage, Mr. Urban.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Great. It's a pleasure to be part of this for sure. I won't take up too much of your time. I just want to welcome everyone to this panel session on IP matchmaking. I personally look forward to the deliberations of the eminent panelists that you'll meet in a couple of minutes. I'm here to give you some hopefully relevant remarks about how Ericsson grew to a global leader from what was once a very small company. And also mention IP's role in that journey. Now, Ericsson is the architect of modern communications, but like many multinationals, it has very humble beginnings. In fact, I think few companies have begun more modestly. It occupied the rented premises of 13 square meters in a backyard shed in central Stockholm. 4 people worked there, including the founder, Lars Magnus Eriksson. The mechanical workshop that it was opened in April of 1876. So it's a while back. They were doing repairs of telegraphic equipment for the Swedish railway to begin with, but about 2 years later, Ericsson sold the first telephones of their own production. Coincidentally, this was also the year that Lars Magnus married Hilda, his wife, who became his most important partner throughout the years as their successful startup, as it really was, as it grew to global prominence. Now, today, 145 years later, the technology that Ericsson offers is the result of substantial investments in technology research and standards development made over many years. Monica Magnusson, my colleague, has already mentioned a little bit around this, but these investments is what make Ericsson a leading innovator and the driving force in the creation of every new generation of cellular technology. We have the leading patent portfolio in our industry, a total of more than 57,000 granted patents, and according to IP experts, are the lead holder of essential 5G patents, such as the 5G Foundation patent that Monica also mentioned, which I might add has several inventors from India among the 130 inventors. Now, intellectual property is not a new phenomenon, obviously, and Ericsson learned the hard way in the early days of mobile communications the importance of protecting our inventions and technological breakthroughs. We weren't really sort of on the ball right from the start, but since then, commercialization of our IP through patent licensing has enabled Ericsson to continuously invest around between 15 and 20% of our annual turnover into new R&D, new innovation. And as an important contributor to global standards, we are committed to make our inventions available to others on fair and reasonable terms. This is the so-called FRAND system. And this is truly a cornerstone of telecommunications industry, enabling the connected world we have today and all its benefits for people, business, and society. I think it's fair to say that in any society with ambitions, it becomes imperative for governments to foster a robust IPR regime that protects, encourages, and rewards inventors and IP holders. And I'm not based in India. I also come to you today from Stockholm, like Monica. But I know that the Indian government has taken many steps in the direction of protecting the rights of IP holders. Also started various schemes of promoting IPR awareness. This is very important, very encouraging, since all institutes, startups, individual inventors behind Indian innovation, they will want their patents to be respected. They'll want royalties for the use to fuel ongoing research, supporting innovation that benefits India. And it's in this context that we also must address commercialization of IP, which I think will be a topic for the panel. And whether that be through licensing, like in Ericsson's case, or other forms of commercialization. Because IPRs are not just for protection of ideas and inventions, but are also, and here in particular, maybe in telecommunications, it's crucial for adoption of new technology. I think we can all agree that if there's no deployment, no adoption of new technology, we're going to be missing out on the benefits and the positive impact of that new technology. So On that note, I want to stress that intellectual property and the innovation it supports are crucial not just for inventors and companies to prosper, but also for creating, for example, high-skilled jobs and for, at the end of the day, for addressing societal challenges, such as, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals. The potential value, the benefits of innovation and IP vastly outweigh things like the cost of IP protection. And this is incredibly important for the advancement of societies across the world, definitely in India. And I'm really looking forward to hearing the panelists taking this discussion forward now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your very enlightening as well as enriching address. So now I would introduce the panelists. So starting with the session chair and moderator for this panel, Dr. Yashwant Dev Panwar. He is the head of the Patent Facilitation Center at the TIFAC, that is the Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council. I'll introduce the panelists for this discussion now, starting with Dr. Mohit Gambhir. He is the director at the Innovation Cell of the Ministry of Education, which was formerly known as the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Then we have Dr. B.K. Sahu, who is the regional manager and head for the Patent Facilitation Center at NRDC at Visakhapatnam in India. Then we have Mr. Manoj Dawane, who is the founder and CEO of Vitian Media Analytics. It's kind of a startup, but they have grown up. Then we have Mr. Savio D'Souza, who is the CEO of topinventor.com, which is also a startup. Then we have Mr. Nilesh Putambar. He is a senior manager for IP and innovation for India and Southeast Asia for Emerson Electric Company. And then we have Mr. Sumit Kapoor, who is the Global Brand Relations Manager for Amazon Asia Pacific. So with that, I will pass on the baton to Dr. Yashwant Dev Panwar to lead this discussion.
Thank you so much, Aman Sinhaji. I hope I'm audible after meeting.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much for making my job very easy by introducing all esteemed panelists. And I think this would save time for me. We have a galaxy of IP expert and IP players, I would say, not only experts who are dealing IP in their day-to-day affairs. And the topic given for today's discussion is IP matchmaking. So generally, the concept of matchmaking is for equal or with the equal system. But when we talk about IP sellers and IP buyers, basically it would be a match between the people who are having the problem and the people who are having the solution for that particular problem. In case is you have the solution and you don't have a problem other side, so you have to create that perception that posing that particular problem, you will have ease in your life or day-to-day functioning. So that's where you try and match between need and supply. How do we fulfill that particular need of a society at large, which is existing in society, or we are creating a need in society? See, if we see the cellular telephony, if we go back 50 years, the cellular telephony was not a need per se, which was realized by the society. But after creation of mobile phone, we cannot live without mobile phone for a single moment because it has to be with us. So if we would have been doing matchmaking exercise 50 years ago, we would not have been in this very particular process to be carried in a certain manner where we are handling through this whole standardization and standard-based development, which we are having in that area of ICT or particularly in telecommunication technologies. So that's very, very important. I think now we have about 42 minutes and 6 panelists. So if I divide by 6, so I get 6 minutes to speak, and everyone would get a 6 minutes to speak. So I'll not speak 6 minutes at a stretch. I'll speak just 2 or 3 minutes now, and then divide time with my panelists to throw light on that. As it was mentioned by John Kabeka in the start of this particular event, that technology licensing, you have to deal with small inventors and small IP holders in this country. Maybe the large IP holder were like Ericsson, who has 57,000 patents. So within this disparity of stature and status, is there a possibility of matchmaking of the technologies and intellectual property rights? I will vouch and say, yes, it is possible. It is possible. Though you may have, but how good the quality of your patent, what kind of efforts you have made to get into those groups. There's a curse, and the people talk about lacuna in the IP system, that most of the patents are not getting monetized, or very few % of patents are getting monetized or commercialized in this country. But I would like to mention here that the real value of IP is not really creating intellectual property rights and protecting intellectual property rights, but real value of IP exists in enforcement of intellectual property rights. So the commercialization and other part will come in between, but real enforcement will really accrue value to IP holders. And I think Ericsson is also, the companies like Ericsson, who has 60,000 patents, also struggles with enforcement of intellectual property rights in different territories. And I think those struggles bringing them on such kind of a platforms to create more awareness, more understanding of IP, and create an ecosystem where everybody can be benefited by protection and enforcement of intellectual property rights, by providing solutions to societal problems in the course of action, and make the knowledge which is actually accrued in patent documentation useful for society. And to give an example, I think Kita was getting award today for YouTubers, but she helped us in really doing the studies when the pandemic hit this country on 4 important topic: how we can make ventilators, how we have, what kind of patenting has happened around the globe in test kits for particularly COVID-19. Still, we could get some patent documents, and PPE kits, etc., etc. So the knowledge in patent documentation can also help you in really solve the societal problem, and we can put this whole IP system at the service of a society. So not only patents, other IPs are also very, very important. So I will go by a sequence, the way things have been put by IPTSE. So I would now request Dr. Mohit Gambhir to throw light on how we can best utilize intellectual property rights to our advantage, and not only patents, how we can focus on other forms of intellectual property rights and create culture in academia. And I think you are handling academic institutions at Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Education. So how do you perceive that we can really take this to the next level, where our people, our students can utilize intellectual property rights for societal use as well as the commercial gain, and achieving a right place in the global game?
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Pamar, and I would like to thank all the dignitaries who spoke before me, and one of our esteemed guests today, rather the chief guest, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, who is the fuel behind us as an innovation cell. We are moving under his guidance and the strategies, we are taking things forward. Now, coming towards the the topic we are dealing with, this IP matchmaking, and to our students, I believe my fellow speakers, they also threw some light. I would like to put in that yes, awareness culture, obviously we are trying, we have developed a couple of courses which are going to the academic institutions as in UG, PG or PhD. As I say, the moral sciences we used to study, we have imbibed those, trying to imbibe that kind of culture in students. Now, one thing is imbibing a culture of generating IP, but on the contrary, taking that IP or giving that IP a shape, be it anything, like you said, Dr. Pamar, be it patents, be it brand, be it copyrights, a lot of things they are to be involved. And first and foremost thing I say that is ethics, then comes in the societal use, that how it is to be taken care of. Even our universities, they are powerhouses for generation of IP. Be it their teaching curriculum, be it their slides, be it the printing notes, be it the other thing, whatsoever they do, our academia is the knowledge powerhouse of IP. So thereby we are trying to inculcate a sense of ownership, that whether they have that kind of knowledge, if they are using, like one of our initial speakers, that fellow highlighted from CSIR, principal scientist, he mentioned that one of his known person was not even aware of that whether the OS he was using is to be licensed. In our curriculum, once we reach to a level where I tell our students that what is to be done, not to be done in copyrights, in brands, in trademarks, in IP or in patents, how can you generate more and more IP, or how it is generated in everyday scenario. I believe a lot of things is bound to happen. It is just like we get our knowledge of eating food, we get our knowledge of taking things forward. Yeah. So once that is done, I'm sure things can be taken further.
Yes, Mayat, I completely buy the problem with academic innovation, which I have been facing for a few years. See, PhD student works on some inventions, and professor will not know that much as the student knows, and the documentation is not very proper. And once the patent is filed, and by the time patent is granted, a student has left the university and institution, and the knowledge also has gone along with him. So how to monetize and commercialize that knowledge? So what we need to do to protect that damage which is happening to the system?
Right. So what we have done is, we have established sort of IACs in somewhere around 2,400 plus institutions as on today. Now we are encouraging those IACs to take care of the knowledge dissemination related to IP, tech transfer, entrepreneurship, cognitive skills, and all others. We are also giving a responsibility to senior professors or a person responsible who is keen to take that. It is not by forcefully we are saying, the person who is really keen to build a culture of IP. So that it is just like I say, primarily earlier we used to have, or in Western world we have IP offices, IP management offices in the majority of the universities. Slowly,
basically now those has been converted in TTOs.
Yes, TTOs. So now here we are trying to, I'm taking a clue that we are going a level below, so that even faculties are aware of that what is this particular IP, and you will be rather happy to know, delighted to know, all the audience rather. Our 8,000 plus faculty members are now trained in innovation and IP aspects. So we believe that if they know a bit today, during the course of maybe a month later, or the time or the course of action we are following in with, I needless to mention your support and NRDC support and other agencies who are coming in, that it can become perpetual, it can go prolonged, so it can become a habit, a culture. So then I'm sure that even if a student is moving out, it's like we say, a faculty member is now allowed to do a startup. And then these students come in for their, as a trainee, as an intern. In a similar manner, a patent has to be protected by an institution, and it is to be licensed to the startup, and things can, should move forward. An institute should get more and more revenue out of it, so that it can also become self-sustainable. And my take is, if that happens for once, then it will go haywire everywhere.
Okay, thank you so much for your insightful comments. And I think if we are able to implement what you said in our academia, really we will have an appropriate system to take IP forward and do And then this whole question of matchmaking will come into effect when we are able to create and protect our intellectual property rights in academia, which you called rightly as a powerhouse of innovation. Right. And I think we all in TIFAC, NRDC try to draw some power from these powerhouses in the form of innovation. And to this theme of today's discussion, I think if we have to make a movie, the IP matchmaker, so I would call the first choice of hero for that movie would be Dr. Sahu. I think he has made so many match for the technologies from government institutions, from academic institutions, from defense labs, and I think he is real matchmaker and pandit of IP matchmaking with us. So I think he doesn't need any other introduction. And daily, but he will call me twice in a month that, oh, sir, I have transferred 3 technologies, I have transferred 10 technologies, I have transferred 5 technologies. I think I will not ask questions, but I would request us how to reveal some of the secrets. How do you do matchmaking, which can really help the IP community to take this IP licensing and matchmaking forward?
Thank you, Dr. Yashwant, for your kind words. And this is something I privilege that this is our collective effort. We are doing our best. But at the outset, I would like to, I'm grateful that IPTSE has recognized us. This will give us more energy to do more. And ye dil mange more. And at the same time, I am grateful to all of you and fellow panelists for giving me opportunity. And as Dr. Yashwant, you told, yesterday only one of my colleague from my office, and she is a woman scientist. And that is the beauty we have created in our ecosystem. So that I wanted to inform you that I got a confirmation email that this company has given confirmation for taking this technology. And at the midnight, because I could not sleep because of my personal liability towards some of the health emergency. But when I saw the email, then there is a positivity that we got some positive client and who is ready to take the technology. So this is something which connect us, which makes us confident that we will make the difference. And that is our effort and collective effort, I will say. And as far as IP matchmaking is concerned, nothing but bringing, as Dr. Mohit is who looks after the institution, the Saraswati, and what we do is bringing Lakshmi. So bringing Lakshmi and Saraswati is need of the hour in the changing paradigm of ecosystem. If you know, there is a United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, and in that goal we have to achieve by 2030, and all that goal we can achieve through sustainability, through sustainability in the form of self-reliance. And that is one of the opportunity we are trying to create, connect, collaborate, and also mitigate some of the challenge what our society is facing during this COVID period. At the same time, I would like to tell you, it is our collective effort also. Somehow we are managing some of the patent, trademark, even Dr. Mohit, who have now wear a GI register fabric. So that is nothing but making, beautifying the nation and nation building through our new product that coming from a particular society and community. Not only patent, not only trademark, it is also GI, and GI is a community right. If we'll connect to somewhere else and some institution or some as a souvenir, that is also we are commercializing and also showcasing our product that recognize globally. So beauty is the eye of beholder, and the way TIFAC has created a women scientist program, for which we are solely proud. You go Kashmir to Kanyakumari, every institution. At Visakhapatnam, some of the institutions like Andhra University, there is a woman scientist from TIFAC. So this is nothing but the matchmaking. This is nothing but the changing the mindset to the people. I mean, there are many universities in the country, they are not ready to accept IP because as our previous speaker talked about the general principle of India, Vasudhaivam Kutumbakam. And at the same time, Honorable Sahasrapute talked about knowledge is free, but knowledge must be acknowledged. We must have to respect the way Guru Dronacharya recognized as a one of the leader in Dhanurvidya. Same way we have to respect the teacher, respect the inventor, respect the creator, whoever it might be. We have seen a beautiful movie, Three Idiots, and that movie in reality, the Sonam Wangchuk was a great leader of the nation who is mitigating the challenge for our defense force. At the same time, I would like to apprise you some of the invention which we are connecting to various industry, and I'll give you one example. On deep water remote operating vehicle, we have transferred in your presence at Ahmedabad also to the L&T defense system, and the L&T is now manufacturing for Indian naval system, and this is nation building. This is nothing but making connecting IP with industry and academia, and this is bringing Lakshmi and Saraswati together. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sahuji, for raking up and really inventing one new matchmaking in the area of intellectual property rights, creating right kind of people. And thanks for acknowledging TIFE's contribution in this, but many institutions have to contribute towards creating right people and the matchmaking of the right people and right institutions for furthering intellectual property rights. In addition to matchmaking between the IP really protected IP and the needy industrialist with regard to intellectual property rights. And I think your experience of making matchmaking between leading institutions such as the Defense Institute, DRDO, and L&T, like, so at equal level, and from big institutions to small startups, I think the technology transfer which you have done really has helped. And I think people should follow such an example and try to take advantage of such experience. But I would make a request that such experience to be brought into a public in the form of open source, and many more Sahus can be created in this country. So that would be the need of our. So it is not taking innovations only from single innovators or small innovators to a large company. So that we are not seeing that happening, because large companies have their own adamancy and little respect for small innovation in most of the cases, not in all cases. But most of the cases, so they try to sideline and ignore protection of intellectual property rights by small innovators and small companies. But the IP is the only way for a startup to survive and stop galloping them by large industries or large entities. So IP can only save them to really sustain for a longer period of time. So it needs some kind of intellectual property rights. And I think next speaker in this panel is Mr. Manoj Dewane, who is a founder and CEO of Vition Media Analyst. And I think you can put the right kind of analysis of the discussion which we had so far with regard to furthering intellectual property rights and taking that into the domain of utility and adaptation by society and industry.
Fantastic. Dr. Yashwant, thanks a lot. You're doing a terrific job in the anchoring, and I'm so glad to meet someone like Dr. Sahu, who has experience in actually connecting, the two very broad spectra of humankind. He puts it very gently as the Saraswati to Lakshmi, and couldn't have heard better words. Let me tell you that. I'm just going to narrate my practical experience, gentlemen. And firstly, I'm super thankful to IPTSE for giving a startup an opportunity to be in a forum like this. To ASSOCHAM for organizing, to Ericsson and NRDC, and everybody who is involved over here are really behind the mission of getting IP out there. And to me, there is no bigger pleasure than seeing someone like Dr. Sahasrabudhe, who is an iconical figure in terms of what happens in the world of IP. On the area that I just wanted to, kind of belabor, and I think you said the segue is very beautifully set, Dr. Yashwant, is how does a startup, purely monetize it? Is that only objective of monetization of IP, or is it an exalted objective like Dr. Shastra said, saying that your IP banao, make your patents, give it away free if you want later, but first make your patents, first file your patent. And that portion, I'm a slightly older entrepreneur, but younger people struggle in order to get this done. What my honest suggestion is, after having trawled this whole area of IP for last 2-3 decades now, is an idea going to research, going to prototype, going to pilot, going to commercialization, going to selling, going global, going intergalactic, let us say. All these steps are known. This is a solved problem. Humankind knows about it. But there are few people who have an idea but cannot articulate it very well. So to me, there is a kind of a finishing school. There is a curation studio. There is a dolling up house. There is a makeup artist that is required. Dr. Sahu, I think, kind of alluded to that, saying that there can be an IP, but the first time when I took my IP as an idea, it was not an idea. I took a prototype, made a prototype, and took it to, a lawyer, a very famous lawyer in intellectual property. He broke down my full project and made it into 7 diagrams. Even I could have made it, but I just did not know that there has to be a method followed like this. Diagrammatically represented, articulated well, so that the formation of your idea tangibilizes into an IP-able paper, quote unquote. Whether we call it a specification, whether we call it provisional, whether we take it to final, whether we file it under PCT, go to 131 countries, all that is known, everything. But what is not known is, how do I make my idea presentable? How can it be made into documentally complete? And my strong suggestion is, with all the denizens across the table over here and a lot of people from the educational sector, as well as Dr. Shastra Buddhe himself from AICTC, there should be a curation mechanism. Let the boys and girls come, like we have seen school children, college children, young entrepreneurs, everybody who cannot articulate but have an idea, and help them to articulate. There is probability of success will become higher. Documentation barabar se likho, make the paraphrasing correct and all that. Slightly boring side, but you need a makeup artist to make Amitabh Bachchan look like what he actually looks. Given the context.
Basically, script writer, basically.
Script writer, you call it. Yes, script writer, probably even a director. That is part number 1. So we have now made the Saraswati side, let us say, become a little bit more glowing in Dr. Sahu's words. Now I come to the hard problem, a very, very hard problem that is faced by the world of monetization. Very few people succeed, but very elegantly, I think Shastra Buddhe sir said, okay, even if 97% fail, those 97% are at it again, doing something else. So let's talk a little about monetization. सबसे बड़ा चीज क्या चाहिए monetization में? When a commercial entity sees it, when an Ericsson sees a smaller patent, or when a big company sees a small patent holder saying that how do we commercialize? What is the question in their mind? इससे पैसा कितना बनेगा? What is the value of this patent? And in order to do valuation, if you look at the VC world, if you look at the PE world, if you look at angel world, they are all used to valuation. If you take a particular business plan and you then seek a value for it, they will do a deferred cash flow. They will do some kind of terminal valuation methodology. All those left-brained methods are known to those kind of people really, really well. Again, an IP holder who is obsessed with his, kind of, or her research of a deep domain probably is not very well suited. And therefore, my hypothesis, my humble hypothesis is 97% patents do not get commercialized. Somewhere I read it in the literature that Dr. Sheetal had sent it to me, or somebody had sent it to me, which is unfortunate. And therefore my suggestion, just like a curation studio or a script writer, I said, Dr. Yashwant, to your point, there should be a mechanism where we can help as a community to these IP holders, saying that, chal, tera ek valuation ka ek, we will make something. We will make a template into valuation. Let us ask the 7 questions, saying that, is there a total addressable market? Is it big enough? What is your go-to-market strategy? How will you take this patent out there and make it into a product? who are the people who will receive this product, what is the population penetration usage and all that. This part also requires probably extending the terminology of a movie. Yadi right side ko script writer humne de diya, we should give the left side to a director who can bring out the value of this whole thing in a tangibilized, measurable format that can be valued. And these are the two yin and yang put together when they come in, that you are going to face a beautiful continuum where the Saraswati part meets with the Lakshmi part, and therefore the confluence becomes, increases the entropy of the universe. So to me, unless and until there is deeper thought over here, you cannot expect somebody who's made a whatever 17 hole flute, let's say, which runs with 8 octaves or 6 octaves. That flute maker just knows music. That flute maker doesn't know that I have to sell it to some brand in Germany who will make it world famous.
Yes,
ये दोनों चीज कैसा करेगा साथ में? एक को स्क्रिप्ट राइटर चाहिए और एक को डायरेक्टर चाहिए. This is my humble contribution and my what you say experience that I have had over the past 2-3 decades.
Thank you.
Making whatever we do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for right remarks for this conference of Saraswati and Lakshmi. But now we are facing Tandav at the time by the COVID pandemic, and how do we make use of that third component of the natural calamity or reality and make advantage of IP system to solve the problem of our society, at the same time reward innovators. Our next panelist is Dr. Silvio D'Souza. He is CEO of topinvento.com. This is one of the startups. So what is Top Invento? And along with that, I think I would request Silvio D'Souza to speak on this matchmaking of IP holders and the industries.
Okay. My name is Savio D'Souza, and Top Invento is a product of the COVID era. I have created an IP platform or an e-commerce platform that looks at all the constituents that are required to run the IP business or to monetize the IP business. It focuses on inventors, patent holders, IP lawyers, IP professionals, IP enforcement people, IP valuers as an ecosystem. So what we're really doing is we are creating a seamless open system where anybody who's an inventor can join the system. Anybody who's a patent holder can join the system. Anybody who's an IP lawyer can join the system. Anybody who's an IP enforcement can join the system. And anybody who's an IP valuation can join the system. Anybody who wants to do IP licensing can join the system. So this will be the ecosystem that we'll create where everybody who's involved in IP somewhere on this system. So there were talks that we had of a young kid who actually has a patent and he's doing his PhD and then they leave college, and then what happens to that patent? So we are saying, can we actually have a system where he can track or he can figure out if he's got an idea to patent, should he actually patent it in India or should he go abroad and patent it? If he has to go abroad and patent it or patent it in India, who are the IP lawyers that he needs to talk to? Manoj just spoke of the issue of how do I get my patent drawings done correctly? Is there someone who can do it? And this can all be tradable commodity. So if there is someone who's making the IP drawings and giving, this young kid can actually work with him, create the idea, get the drawings done, walk to a patent lawyer, get his patents registered. He can do it in India or he can do it abroad. He can choose his way on how he wants to do it. Once he's patented the idea, again, he's not the guy who knows how to license the patent, or he doesn't know how to license the invention. So can we introduce him to licensing people, say in Germany, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in Japan, somewhere along the world where he can actually reach out, talk to these people, work a deal and figure out how he can sell this license on the ground. And then finally, if there is an enforcement issue, if you're caught, someone's pirating or counterfeiting your goods in Nigeria, someone's doing it in Malaysia, can we actually provide him with enforcement teams that actually operate on the ground in this area? So we're creating a seamless platform for anybody who is in the IP domain to actually come in there and find a way to trade. You're looking at an unfinished product, which could be an idea that a young IIT kid has, and he wants to build a prototype, can we introduce him to prototype developers? And he pays the prototype developers, quickly creates his prototype, runs to patent it. So can we facilitate the process? That's the idea that we're looking at. After he patents it, how does he move it ahead? So we have two objectives that this site is trying to address. Point number one is 95% of patents never get commercialized. That's a statement that's said across the ground. Can we reduce this by even 5%? That is the humble objective that we want to work with. Can next year or can 2 years from now we say that 95 has become 90, so another 5% patents have got commercialized through the world. In education institutions, this number is at 99% or 98% of patents never get commercialized. And there is a huge reservoir of data, huge reservoir of knowledge in these education institutions. This doesn't concern India alone, but across the world. So can we find a way to actually change this number from 98 to 90, 93? That's the objective that we are playing this game.
Yeah, I hope that kind of platform which you are creating will be very useful. But I firmly foresee some of the challenges such a platform may face when you go and enforcement. So you will really have to create a blocks within the platform, because otherwise it will run into the conflict of interest for parties at a long term. And I think hopefully you were seeing into those issues which would come in such a platform where you deal multiple parties, because everybody will come together and deal at one platform. And I think at the COVID time, we have taken a very right and pertinent step to have such a wonderful platform available to the people. I think we were struggling to have such a platform, or we call an IP exchange. There are some IP exchange available. So this can actually graduate to the next level of that, and really wonderful platform. And then what mechanism you're creating for enforcement? See, this is where we are saying 97% patents are not getting commercialized. That may not be true in all cases. I firmly believe that 50% of patents would have utility and would have been used in the society at a different places and point of time. But those have not been identified and really put on the papers and known to the owners of those particular intellectual property rights and patents. So those patents are working in the field, but the enforcement of those patents are not happening. That's why we say the commercialization is not happening. Because knowingly and unknowingly we use many patents. So some of the user may not know which patent they are using. So that's where I think a platform, if it graduates to the next level or efficiency of such a platform is increased, would find absolute use for everybody. I think I must compliment you for this and sharing on this particular platform. It would be very useful information and insight for all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have next panelist with us is Mr. Nilesh Putambekar. He's a senior manager at IP Innovation for India and Southeast Asia. And I think this is the area where we really need to work very hard, because Indian technologies would find place in Southeast Asian countries. So such a bridge which is being created to be used. I think we all can join hand together and take this bandwagon to the next level. Yeah, Nilesh, your views on owning of intellectual property right and taking it to the users of those technologies, innovations, maybe names like trade names, etc., and particularly enhancing this to Southeast Asian countries as India is taking lead.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Panwar sir, for providing me this opportunity. And I would like to thank IPTSE and ASSOCHAM for organizing such a nice event. So I'll just add a line to my introduction that I'm working with Emerson Electric Company as an IP head for India and Southeast Asia, and also I had an innovation function. And till now, I have got more than 1,000 patents generated by Indian inventors working for Emerson. Now, since we are discussing industry and academic interactions, I would like to tell that out of this more than 1,000, almost 1,100 patents, only few are with academic coordination. Okay. So there are reasons for that. And as you said, one thing is matchmaking, where is the common interest. So when we say all these patents and IP technology transfer, one important thing is IP is not exactly equivalent to technology. So when we say someone owns IP or transfers IP or commercializes IP, that is not exactly equivalent to transferring technology. If I give a patent document to someone, that person will not be able to build a product as it is, even reading that complete patent, because a lot of technological insight needs to go into that. And that's the area where a lot of opportunity for industry and academic interaction is possible. For matchmaking, what is most important is building the trust. So both parties should have trust with each other. Then only this matchmaking can happen. And for that, what I have found over a period that there has to be a common interest. Academic research interests are different and industry research are different. Industry is more applied or time-bound, immediate result kind of thing. So for getting this common result interest, probably co-creation is the area where industry and academics experts can work together to solve a problem.
And that's where the concept of open innovation flourished in the Western part.
Yes, that's the area. Because finally, what we want is solving relevant problem. As you said, and Mr. Manoj Daune also said that many industries have many academics institutes are solving problem. They are trying to create a startup, but industry is not taking it up because they are probably not solving the problems that industry is facing today. So there has to matchmaking in the technology transfer, IP transfer, but there has to also matchmaking in identifying the relevant problem, that which problems are to be solved. And if that is done, then all that IP that is getting generated, all the technology that is getting generated will be much more commercializable. So when we say that 95% patents are not getting commercialized, because probably they are not addressing the exact problem that is faced. If there is a better coordination and matchmaking between problem owner and problem solver, then that commercialization will happen much more, and there will be a lot of value creation out of that.
I think you're talking about a targeted research, basically, and that is being done by leading institutions in the form of contract research with industry and various agencies. But there are some areas where research is not done in this manner, and we have to keep place for both the things, where we are solving the existing problem as well as some blue sky research, which problem we have not anticipated and we are solving. So we have to have a balance of both. And thank you very much for sharing. I hope Sumit Kapoor is there. I'm not seeing his video.
Yes,
so
sir.
Please tell that you carry on.
Okay, sir. So I was just adding, as you said correctly, that there can be contract or focus research and there can be a blue sky research. But again, there has to be two-way communication, that if there is a blue sky research and if someone is matchmaker who can tell, okay, this blue sky research is there and industry can immediately adapt it. Here is a ready customer for that, because academic expert may not identify who can readily pick up this research. Then there will be much more sense for that. So as Dr. Sahu said and as Prakash Daune said, Manoj Daune sir said, there has to be a director and script writer. So that's the area where there is lot more opportunity, because academics are generally 10 years ahead of industry in research. We adapt what is happening today, we'll adapt it 10 years from now. So if there is a matchmaker or a director, that can happen much faster. So that's a new opportunity for commercialization. That's from my side.
Thank you. Thank you so much for finishing in time. Still, we are running late by maybe 5 to 6 minutes. We have with us Mr. Sumit Kapoor, who is a brand manager with Amazon. So now we are dealing other form of intellectual property right, how it really helps and what are the challenges in managing brands in such a dynamic scenario. So Sumit ji, please.
Well, thank you very much, sir. So first of all, let me congratulate IPTSE ASSOCHAM for putting this up. I think this is a great forum for everybody to jump in and learn more about IP. Let me also congratulate the winners who won award today, and tell them that, guys, this is just the beginning. So don't stop and keep doing the great work that you have been doing. Well, coming on the topic, and let me, slightly sort of move away from patents that has been sort of, dominating the debate, and let me talk about other forms of IP, and also talk about how, the work that Amazon is basically doing in terms of creating and protecting IPs for small businesses. Yeah, but before I start, let me tell that at Amazon, we believe that small businesses are backbone of an economy. And very recently, for India, we announced a fund of 250 million US dollar, which is focused on digitization of small businesses, agri-tech sector, working in the agri-tech sector, health sector, etc. When we look at, this gamut of small businesses or startup, it has been constantly growing, which is a great thing. The growth has been because of multiple factors. The government came up with very conducive kind of an environment. There have been awareness about the work that they have been doing. So we have seen a growth. What we have also seen is that most of these startups and small businesses come up with this approach, which is sort of, problem solving approach. The one the prior speaker, Mr. Xavier, was also mentioned of. And when we talk about problem-solving approach, one of the main things that comes into picture is invention, ideas, and new products that are gonna solve a problem. What we have generally seen is that many startups, or most startups, if I can say so, would actually stop at this stage. They would either not know about what I did need to do next, or they would not be inclined for taking it forward. But many of the panelists, I'm sure, would agree with me that the actual movie starts beyond the stage. So the need is to tell them, to make them aware about IP, which both Ministry of Commerce, when I was working with CPAM, they have been doing, and also the MSME has been doing. And two is to help them create, and most importantly, enforce that IP, right? Which Yashwant sir also mentioned about. Now, these two main aspects also play a very critical role when it comes to Amazon. And now let me bring in the e-commerce perspective here. What we basically do is we try to help first create IP for small businesses. And once that IP is created, then help to protect that IP at our platform. How do we do that? We have this program which is called IP Accelerator. Under the IP Accelerator program, a lot of the small businesses get access to the resources that they need in order to create an IP. But when I say IP, I am focusing on trademark at this stage, right? As I already mentioned in the starting that I would be speaking of patents. And once that, the idea is to connect with these small businesses with a curated network of law firms, or provide them with the resources so that what it is considered as a complex issue of creating IP becomes easy, right? So that's part one. In India, we're still sort of, in terms of launching this, we have already launched it at many other jurisdictions. Two, when it is created, the brands have all, get the tools which are readily available for them to protect their IP. That they, if they see that someone is basically violating their IP on Amazon, they get to use various tools like brand registry, report a violation, Project Zero, etc., which would then help them to take off those infringing listings. So that's how basically we look at this problem. In my personal capacity, let me also very quickly, in a minute, talk about the theme, which is IP matchmaking. And sir, I remember my colleague Siddhant worked with you when we both were in CPAM on a platform like what Mr. Desija mentioned. And I was thinking about what all are the aspects that we need to take into consideration if we are talking about IP matchmaking. Do we, how do we identify the relevant stakeholders? Someone mentioned about the problem. I absolutely agree with you. How do we identify what the problem is? And two, how do we identify the relevant stakeholder? Who is the seller? Who is the buyer of this IP? What, for example, Ericsson would be interested in buying IPs, or you know, would XYZ startup would be interested in selling that IP? Two, and I think most important one would be, do we have multiple avenues in place where this IP matchmaking can take place? I mean, you know, we are talking about one of maybe, you know, a platform that Mr. Savio was talking about, but I believe we need hundreds of Savios here so that, you know, we create that avenues. I'm talking about, you know, tangible products. We have bazaars, right? We have the system of bazaars, like every small town, village has got bazaar where people come and shop. I mean, how do we create that system is something we need to look at. And I think this is something which requires deep diving. And also what is important, another important factor would be, what is the difference between tangible property and intangible property when it comes to commercialization, right? So all those differences, I think, would play a very important role. IP valuation would be one of them. I mean, you know, I mean, we know when it comes to a tangible product, what its value would be. But how do we sort of value intangible product? So these are a few things on the general side. I think we should be discussing more often, and also, you know, the Amazon aspect I covered. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all for your important views on this topic. And we are missing today is Professor Unnat Pandit, who was supposed to take care of this particular session. So I was in a stopgap arrangement for this. But somehow, thanks to IPTSE and ASSOCHAM to provide me this opportunity. And I think Aman Sinhaji is very eager to close this session. Before that, I would like to make a couple of remarks on this. See, we discussed about matchmaking in intellectual property rights, but we also wanted to look at when we see value of intellectual property rights is it only investing in R&D is the value which we judge, or we put cost on filing and protecting in different territories, and who we are as a small entity, or as an innovator, or a member of society, or as a nation, or as a government, who we are to go and start matchmaking for IP and IP holders and IP users. So each one of will have a different role, and each one of us will have to assume different role and play our own role. And we will have Savios, Devaniji, Nilesh, Sumit, everybody, Mohit, Sahuji, everybody would contribute in their own way to this whole efforts where we are maximizing commercialization and utilization of intellectual property. Not only patents, we talk about GIs, where we have taken a lead as a country to have a few hundreds GIs, plant varieties, so many. So each one of them we really have to take it forward. Thank you. I would now hand over to session back to Aman Sinhaji and Seetal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yashwant, and all the panelists for a very engaging discussion. I am sure it was a wonderful experience for our audience. So with this, we will move on to the final portion of this IP conclave, which will be the vote of thanks. So I will now invite Dr. Sheetal Chopra to give the vote of thanks and conclude the ceremony.
Thank you so much, Aman, and thanks to all the panelists, everyone who showed great support. Formally, I would like to thank IPTSE Academy, which is a startup run by scholars, research scholars, YouTube teachers, honorary advisors, so many students, for giving us all the opportunity to work for you and work with you. So thank you so much for that. I also wear hat of IPTSE Academy's course coordinator. So in that mode, I would like to thank Ericsson, especially Monica and Urban, for showing great support to make this startup self-sustainable, and where, you know, the startup can do really something great for the country. I would also like to thank all the government officials, government departments for the great support. Looking forward to CPAM and AICT to also join the force and support it. I think if every multinational that is working in India can adopt one startup and make it sustainable, that would be the great justice that you would have done to the country at large. So I would encourage all the multinationals present hearing us to support startups the way you can in your own capacities. Also, as on behalf of IPTSE Academy, I would like to thank ASSOCHAM, especially Nahid and Gaurav for supporting the initiative all the way through. I would also like to thank Weber Shandvik team for all social media and digital media work that you continue to do for this entire conclave, especially to Surbhi, Bhumika, Kaushik, Saptarshi, Satraji. I mean, names are never ending. As I said, it's a big initiative. So many people are working background. वो शायद आपको पता भी नहीं होगा कि कौन-कौन है. There is Riya, Vansh, and Saurabh. So many. I mean, I won't do justice if I don't call upon everybody's name, but I know I cannot call upon everyone's name. And finally, Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe, sir, shukriya aapka bahut. Thank you so much for supporting the initiative, for coming forward. Sir, final remarks from your side.
No. I was listening carefully to all the panelists, and it is invigorating to see so many of them are willing to contribute in different ways. And if we are able to coordinate, create a platform where they will all come together and start mentoring these new startups who are coming in, we will create hundreds of unicorns every year. That is the spirit. And 10,000 patents is very easy, to make it happen. So AICT on its part is already supporting 10,000 startups in terms of patenting. And if some of them convert into startups and some funding is available, many unicorns will make their way. With that, thank you very much. And it was wonderful listening to many of them, and a lot of new ideas came. We learn a lot from listening to each other, and that is the spirit of lifelong learning.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And I know we are 10 minutes ahead of our scheduled close time, but I see Dr. Jitendra Kaur from Punjab government. Madam, if you are available still, just quick two-liners on how you feel in receiving this award and about this initiative. And then we close. Dr. Jitendra, are you still there? Although I can see your name. But thank you so much. Maybe there are some technical glitches, but once again, we will again converge next year and continue to meet in small steps each time. Thank you. Have a wonderful time and stay happy with your family. Stay safe. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank
you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Also, thanks to Gaurav from ASSOCHAM for coordinating everything.
you, sir.